Hey everybody. I just felt like reviewing a vintage game. Also, hey, thank you everybody who joined this channel recently. Hopefully you're not just here because I occasionally give away free games. I also do reviews, so if you dig the vibe here, if you enjoy, ooh, Super Challenge Football. I have a feeling this is going to be amazing. I don't know if I'm prepared for what a super challenge it's going to be, but we'll see if I can manage. Anyway, hang on tight. We're going to review another Atari game. All right, super challenge football time. Well, you should all know what the problem is right out the gate. We are reviewing a sports game on the Atari 2600. The Atari 2600, there are good games on the console. You won't catch me saying there are not good games. There are indeed some excellent games on the console. Warlords, the ultimate party game. Like, for real. I've thrown parties where I've had people play that game, and they loved it. Even if they'd never played Atari before, even if they, don't care for video gaming in general, like, that game reaches people because the gameplay is good. All of your river raids and your pitfalls and all of your heroes and all of your, so many good games on the Atari 2600. And then, you have all the amazingness that is Pac-Man. Yeah, if you know your Atari 2600 Pac-Man, you know that game is a massive disappointment. Open face man just going around chomping up rectangles in a turd brown maze. Yeah, it was not good, and people were sad. I just wonder how many kids cried on Christmas the year that one came out. Like, this is not Pac-Man. This is a crime against humanity. That was the cry of all the children. Anyway, so yeah, it's a total thing. Very normal. The system has limitations, and so you have to accept that it's not going to do everything well, and so you have to find a way to work within the limitations. Now, the first thing that Super Challenge Football does that you will notice right off the bat is that this is 5-man football. Yeah, I don't know what level they're playing 5-man football at, but I could tell you that the smallest of possible high schools that you can go to, because my wife taught at one of the smallest of possible high schools, they played 8-man football. And they didn't have a kicker, so they went for it on every fourth down, and instead of kicking extra points, they went for 2-point conversions every time. It was very exciting and extremely fun to watch. But yeah, like 8-man football, somewhat normal. 5-man football, wait, who are these players? Because the hilarious thing is that control wise, you have to remember the Atari 2600 has a joystick, so that's a 4-way control with the addition of one button. It's a singular un on your controller for this game. And so, like, even to play like Tecmo Bowl on the NES, it was slightly more complicated in the play calling. And yet, like, on every play of this game, they figured out a way for you to actually design your own plays, in a sense, which is really fun and interesting. And it actually works surprisingly well. So basically what happens on every down is, depending on which side of the ball you are, you have your quarterback of the offense and your quarterback of the defense, because that's normal. And so the quarterback will go down the line and tell each of the players what they're going to be doing, what route they're going to be running. So it's basically kind of like an audible on every down. Kind of. It's not normal football. They had to cut some corners in order to make it work. It contains very much football-like substance. So, yes, indeed, this is where to get your fix for football-like substance. Um, anyway, so you as quarterback tell your player what route they're going to run when you're on offense. And so if you press up, they will sprint toward the sideline at the top of the screen. They won't like run a button hook or anything of the sort. Like there's no zags, there's no like all of the routes are straight. They're just straight lines. That's all it is. Everybody's running in straight lines. You just need to tell them what kind of a straight line they're going to run in. So up is toward the sideline at the top of the screen. Down is toward the sideline at the bottom of the screen. And then if you press the button on one of the players, that designates that is the player who is getting the pass, if indeed you choose to pass. And then, if you press back when you're on offense, your player will run backwards. That's right. He'll run a backwards route. Why? I don't know. But the hilarious thing is that if the defense chooses man-to-man coverage and you tell your player to run backwards for no reason, they will follow him in coverage and be like, oh, we better cover him. He might get the ball. And they just sprint toward the wrong goal line, and it's hilarious and silly. Now, the game is meant to be played by two players only. That is one of the downsides of the game. There is no single player versus CPU mode. I played as both of the players in the footage that you are watching right now, and I had a lot of fun doing it. I'm not going to lie. I did have a surprising amount of fun doing it. When I first started, I could not figure out how to play the game at all. I did have to go look up a manual. Thanks, Atari Age, for having those scans, my friends. You guys are the very best. Or Atari Mania. Atari Age just had the text. Atari Mania had the actual scans. Sorry. There are two primary Atari resource websites that you need to know if you collect for Atari. And when I say Atari, I mean any Atari computer or console from any era. And those are Atari Mania and Atari Age. So thanks to both of them for a lot of information over the years, and indeed for this game as well. So, yeah. Here's the thing. I forgot to mention this. This is an M Network game, which does not always inspire confidence, because M Network, when it's in the box, it looks fine. Like it looks like any other Atari game. It's fine. But when you take it out of the box, it is this boring black cartridge that is fat on the bottom and skinny on top, with a weird slanty slant spot where they put the only label, which just has the name of the game at the top. It's a very boring way to package video games, especially because the other Atari offerings, I mean, except for the ones that Atari themselves put out that were like the budget versions of like Combat and Telegames and whatnot, like, where it was just a text-only version of the cartridge, which those were the budget versions. Everybody knew that. It's fine. You get the same game. It doesn't have the artwork, whatever. They did have the other version that had artwork on the cartridge. Most Atari games had artwork on the front of the cartridge and then a separate label on top. A lot of games, like some of the, who is that publisher that I'm thinking of? Parker Brothers. The Parker Brothers ones had gorgeous labels that fall off over time and you have to reapply them. And the Activision labels, brightly colored, beautiful, all the colors of the rainbow and more. Yeah, so many good labels, so much good art on those early Atari cartridges. But M Network games, just a black piece of plastic with just the word on it. That's it. Like, doesn't tell you anything about the game other than that. And so, yeah, when you start collecting for Atari, and if you're like me and you don't care as much about like in the box stuff, oh boy, like it is. The M Network games do not inspire confidence. They also don't inspire confidence because they are hit and miss as all get out. Like, there is no guarantee that a game is going to be good. Like, Activision, you're pretty well guaranteed the game is going to be fun. There are very few misses in the Activision catalog, you know, and there are some developers for Atari that were like that you could just trust that they were going to put out quality. But when it comes to M Network, it's like, it's a 50-50 chance. Let's roll those dice. But yeah, I actually had a tremendous amount of fun playing this game as both players. And I would imagine that it would be a lot more fun if I were actually playing against a second player, because then the strategy becomes deeper and you really have to think about what it is that you're doing on every single down and where it is that you're sending your players. Because on offense, you can go sideline, straight backward or straight forward in a Hail Mary, like, please throw it to me type of route. Or alternately, you could just run it and hope that there is an opening of some sort. And when I say run it, I mean basically pistol offense, you know, just giving it to a quarterback with speed. And I don't know what it is, but I swear, you know, because it's yellow team versus blue team, I swear that blue quarterback is fast as all get out because he had breakaway speed in ways that the yellow quarterback did not. So am I crazy or is that real? You tell me, play the game, tell me what you think. But anyway, on defense, you have the same options that you have on offense, except for you're telling your players, you know, if you push the button, they're going to go after whoever has the ball. If you go forward, they are going to blitz. If you go back, they're going to drop into coverage man-to-man. If you go up, they're gonna try and block people toward the sideline. If you go down, they're gonna try and block people toward the sideline on the other side. And that actually makes more sense than the offensive version of it, but whatever. Anyway, I did have fun, and hopefully we made it far enough into the game footage for you to have seen me getting creative with some of the play calling where I found out that, like, if you have the defense going man-to-man and you have the offense running really stupid routes, like everyone just sprints for the sideline, you could be left with just wide open spaces where I just ended up running around and around and around, you know, kind of like Tecmo Bo. Like, if you've ever seen people do that with Bo Jackson, where you can run him the entire length of the field in the wrong direction and then still run the entire length of the field in the correct direction and score a touchdown that way. Like, it's insane. But yeah, no one stops Tecmo Bo. Like, he was as Bo Jackson as the real Bo Jackson. I love me some Bo Jackson. Anyway, so yeah, this game is a bit of a silly goose when it comes to things like that, because if the offense tells any of their players to do anything stupid and the defense says play him man to man, then everybody's going to be doing stupid things. and it's going to be leave just wide open space on the field, and then it becomes a matter of who can get to the opening with the ball and how quickly can they break away. So it's, it's not perfect. It, like I said, it's football like substances. It's not exactly football, but it is fun to play. It's surprisingly fun to play. With all of its glitches and whatnot, like, I would suggest playing it with a second player, obviously, but overall, an interesting little monkey that I did not like. I was not ready for it to be any good whatsoever. I really wasn't. I really was not. I was really like, all right, M Network, here we go. Let's find out. Let's see what you did with this assignment. You were told to make a football game. Let's see what you made. Because that's the way it goes with some Atari games. I mean, man, if you like, I have the Atari artwork book where you see the box artwork and the cartridge artwork, and it's gorgeous and amazing artwork from the time, very 1970s, but like really incredible art. And then you look at the actual games and you're like, my dude is not a knight in shining armor. He's just a square. Why? He just a square? Like, that's for real. I'm talking about Adventure, the first RPG where your player is very much just a square. But it's a fun game. Still, gameplay trumps all. And in Super Challenge Football, the gameplay is solid enough that you can have yourself a decent time, which is a surprise. I was not prepared for that to be the case, but indeed it was the case. So, final score-wise, what we're going to do on this one is we're going to go a 7.5 out of a possible 10 1982 Walter Payton Topps cards. Why? Because I loved Walter Payton back in the day, and because 1982 was the year that this game came out. So that's why 7.5 feels solid for, like, a game that's decent to play. I don't know if this is the best football game on the Atari 2600, but I wouldn't be surprised given the fact that, like, the sports genre on the Atari is dicey at best. Just absolutely not a guarantee that you're going to have a fun time with whichever one you go with. But yeah, turned out pretty darn well, and I'm pretty happy with it. So anyway, people, that's going to do it for this one. I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.